I was very apprehensive about making a video surrounding Aston Villa. And I looked at their last two games. I looked at the game against Chelsea. I looked at the game against Manchester United. And they were wins. 2-1 victories against those two teams that are probably battling for those Champions League, Europa League positions. And they were impressive victories. But at the same time, I looked at those games and I said, I haven't seen enough. And I pinpointed on my calendar. I looked at that game against Arsenal that was played out today. And I said, this is the game that will tell me everything I need to know. This loss does not define them as a team. This loss does not eradicate all the good things you've seen from them in the past 11 or 12 games. These guys are still a top team. Aston Villa have shown you in recent weeks that Unai Emery is one of the best managers in world football. Unai Emery is one of the best managers in the league. And I think you're starting to see that with Morgan Rogers continuing to grow from level to level, showing why Thomas Tuchel continues to choose him. Yuri Tielemans is continuing to show that incredible level we saw at Leicester City. Amadou Onana has been running the midfield. It's a very good Aston Villa side from top to bottom. This is a team that's capable of suffering for long periods of the game and hitting you on the counterattack with individual brilliance from people like Morgan Rogers, for example. And I think in these recent games that you've seen, this winning run that they've had, they've shown a real ability to stay within games. It kind of feels as though maybe they're underneath the cosh and things are kind of getting away from them. They still find a way to stay within one and kind of pounce on those moments where the opposition make a mistake or where Aston Villa just have a bit more momentum in the game. And I think that's why you saw them go on the run that they did. But ultimately, I think the reason why I was apprehensive about discussing Aston Villa in a video is because they're too conservative for me. And I look at a game like today, or actually if we go back a few days, you look at their games against Chelsea and Manchester United, for example. But in my opinion, I watched that game, and for me, Manchester United are one of the worst teams in the league, right? They showed it again today, drawing 1-1 with one of the worst Premier League sides we've seen in Premier League history. I don't think Manchester United are a good team. So for Aston Villa to play the way that they did against Manchester United, making Man United look pretty decent in a game that I thought Aston Villa would run through Manchester United, I thought, okay, maybe you're not as good as I think you are. No doubt they're still a good team, but I feel like any team that makes Manchester United look good is not that good of a team. But I said, okay, let me put that in my back pocket. Then you move on to the Chelsea game. And this is a Chelsea team, once again, continuing to show us how inconsistent they are with more drop points again today. But we'll talk about that another day perhaps. And I remember saying it when I was watching the game. They completely gave away the first half. I mean, we've seen teams kind of be a bit more pragmatic, give the opposition the ball, try and contain the opposition, limit the amount of chances, space that they get, and hit on the counter. But I don't think any team goes to any game planning to have 26% possession, planning to have 0 shots on goal in 45 minutes, planning to have absolutely no outball, planning to be penned back in their own box for majority of the first half. I don't think any team plans to do that. And you look at a team like Chelsea, in that first half, they failed to capitalize on that. And you saw in the second half, Aston Villa took advantage. Ollie Watkins comes off the bench and he scores the goals that he does. But I remember watching the game and I said, if you play that first half, if you play like that against Arsenal, you will be 3-0 down in the blink of an eye. You will be 3-0. If you play like that against Man City, you will be out of the game before you can even react. And tonight against Arsenal, that is exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And for me, I watched the game tonight, and as I said, this was a real moment for me to see whether Aston Villa are title challengers. This narrative has been thrown around a little bit that Aston Villa are in the title race. Aston Villa are in the title race. For me, they were never in the title race. The same thing we said with Chelsea. For you to compete with Arsenal, you not only have to be an elite team, you have to have depth, and you have to have resilience in these sort of games, such that you can continuously withstand the pressure week in, week out that the Premier League holds. Because you look at a team like Arsenal today who didn't have Declan Rice, who I think has been their best player this season. That midfield was lost without him in the first half. Because Amadou Onana was kind of just doing whatever he felt like. There was so much space in the first half for Aston Villa. And you saw that press from Arsenal, pressing high up the field and trying to win the ball back. In the first half, it just didn't work. It just did not work for them. And Aston Villa was just breaking through time after time. And you look at that chance missed by Ollie Watkins. If he scores that, who knows? It could be a completely different game. But I don't think that a team who is quote-unquote going for the title should be banking on one chance like Ollie Watkins had. As I said, I'm not saying this to say Aston Villa is not a good team. I still think they can probably qualify for the Champions League. Perhaps even finish 4th position or 3rd position. Who knows? The season is still long. But I think what today's game showed everybody is there's a difference between the actual title contenders and the pretenders. And I think Aston Villa are definitely in the latter. Because in today's game, I never felt as though Aston Villa were really going to cause Arsenal problems. And this is what I continuously say with Arsenal. Arsenal's ceiling and their floor, there's not that much difference between them. Because in that first half, Arsenal were poor. Let's just say it as it is. Arsenal were not good in the first half whatsoever. They weren't creating chances. Their passes were sloppy. They were getting picked out. Their press was easy to play through. They were not creating any chances whatsoever. Bukayo Saka today didn't really have that great of a game. But Martin Odegaard was incredible in that second half. And you could see in that second half, it's like a flick switched. It's like Arteta really laid into those players and let them know this is a big game. Even if Manchester City go on tomorrow and don't win, who knows? By the time you guys are watching this, the game could have already been played. I don't think Manchester City will beat Sunderland. Even if they do, it will be tough. But I still felt like today was a big game for Arsenal to really go out and prove to everybody that they're a serious team. And that performance in that second half showed it exactly. It may not be the way people want to see it. It may not be the exact swashbuckling football you see with Manchester City. But I said it before. It does not matter. In these moments, just win your games. And that's what Arsenal did today. The set piece opens up the game for them. Martin Odegaard's magic to make it 2-0. And in the blink of an eye, the game's completely gone from Aston Villa. 3-0. Pack it up. Go back home. Go back to Birmingham. The game's all over. And that's how quickly Arsenal can take the game away from you. As I said, it's not the most appealing way of playing football. But that set piece opens up the game for them. Once it's 1-0, now Aston Villa can't just keep playing deep. Now Aston Villa can't just be as conservative as they were before, because now Arsenal have their tails up. And the minute Arsenal start having their tails up at the Emirates, it's a long day. It's a long day. And I think in previous games where things have been tight for Arsenal, games that we kind of looked at them and said, are Arsenal starting to hit a rocky patch? I felt like today you saw that clinicality come back into play. And I think right now, Arsenal can take a lot from this victory, because going into these latter months, as I said before, the only people that can stop Arsenal from winning this league is Arsenal. Going forward, as I said, as for Aston Villa, they're still a fantastic team. I still think this team can challenge on all fronts. Europa League, Champions League qualification. This is a top team. But I do think you're going to start to see a reversal back to the mean, because you look at a lot of the underlying numbers. Aston Villa are far, far overperforming their expected goals, their expected goals conceded, their expected points, their expected goal difference. This is a team that is definitely in a good moment. And I think this game kind of brings them back to earth that, okay, perhaps you're not as good as people thought you were. And I think even the way they played, I don't think modern day football encourages teams that play the way Aston Villa have been playing these past few weeks, particularly against big teams. Because when you play so defensive, when you play so pragmatic, if you don't win, that is all people are going to talk about. And as I said, this video is not here for me to tell you guys Aston Villa are a terrible team. They're a good team, but Arsenal are just a level above. And Arsenal are in that title contention level. And I think today, Arsenal distinguished the differences between those levels. Quick one regarding Chelsea. Once again, Chelsea dropped points to Bournemouth in a game that, for me, that this game was cinema. Honestly, incredible game from start to finish. First 30 minutes, 4 goals. And then the last 75 minutes, it was like a chess match. Maresca trying to break down Iraola. Iraola being very defensively resolute. Something we haven't seen from Bournemouth in recent games. And I think today, the main thing I took away from this game, Estevao. Wow. Estevao is legit. He started the game on the right-hand side. He was running up Truffert. He was making him eat dirt. Inside, outside, nutmeg, to the byline, cut inside. What can the kid not do? He was breaking lines. He was picking up the ball in the pocket. He was running in behind. He was dribbling people 1v1, 2v1, 3v1. There was a moment in the game where it felt like he lost the ball on the edge of the box and then just put it through his legs, got to the byline, put it in across. Liam Delap missed the chance. Won the penalty for Chelsea, caused chaos throughout the game. Even when Joao Pedro came onto the field, you started to see Estevao roaming around the field, move from that right-hand side to the left-hand side. Jimenez and him were having an incredible duel. And honestly, at one point, you have to give it to Jimenez, because I was genuinely sitting there thinking, my brother, he is killing you right now. You need to get something back in this duel. You need to kick him, or you need to get some respect back. Because the way Estevao was running him in and out, it was incredible to see. These are the sort of players that you pay money to watch. These are the sort of players that get you up off your seat. And I'm looking at that performance today again, once from Cole Palmer. Of course, he's not fully fit. But I think when you have a player like Estevao, who's doing the things he does every single time he plays, I don't think you need Cole Palmer to hit that elite level every single game. Again, Garnacho, Neto continuing to do the mischievous things that they continue to do, because these are mischievous players. Chelsea continue to be an inconsistent side. I said this in my last video surrounding Chelsea. I had some of my Chelsea friends texting me, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. The season will tell us all we need to know. Manchester United as well dropped points to the worst Premier League side we've probably seen in footballing history. I don't understand how a manager can show you who he is. I don't understand how a manager can finish 15th and they continue to support this guy. Manchester United is a precarious situation. Genuinely a precarious situation. But of course, all the festivities continue. Incredible round of fixtures. And now we lined up for Sunderland, Manchester City. I'm very excited for that. I am very, very excited of that. But of course, with this video, this is the last video for the year. Thank you guys so much for all the support you've shown me throughout the year. Of course, I know I went on a ridiculous hiatus for about 3-4 months, and I apologize for that. As I said before, I want to thank every single one of you who's been with me throughout, even during the hiatus. Some people were texting me saying, please come back. I'm back now, and the videos are going to be consistent. And hopefully in 2026, we'll be more consistent. There'll be more videos on the channel. I'm just going to be doing this because I love talking about football. And if any of you want to join along for the ride, feel free. So that's all from me for 2025. Enjoy yourselves. Celebrate with family, friends, whoever you're with. If you're alone, hey man, Happy New Year. I hope you have a great time. Stay safe. And as always, take care of yourselves.